A lot of people think pleasure fades away with age. But is that really true? Masturbation can be liberating, or it can turn into a big problem. It can boost your health, relieve stress, and even help you sleep better. But if done the wrong way, it can lead to isolation, frustration, and even hurt your sex life. So where's the line between healthy pleasure and hidden danger? Stick around till the end, because what you're about to learn might completely change the way you see this. A lot of people believe that as we get older, desire just disappears. But the truth is, it doesn't go away. It just changes. Your body goes through transformations. Hormone levels drop, and sexual energy might feel different. But that doesn't mean pleasure is gone. In fact, for many people, it becomes even more special without the pressure from youth, without the anxiety of performance. It's a more intimate, more mindful experience, a real connection with your own body. Masturbation at this stage of life can be a powerful way to rediscover yourself. No rush, no guilt, no pressure, just you and your pleasure. And beyond just feeling good, it has real health benefits. It improves blood flow, helps with natural lubrication, keeps genital tissues healthy, and releases endorphins, the hormones that bring relaxation and happiness. And let's be honest, who wouldn't want a little more happiness in their daily life? The problem is, nobody talks about this openly. There's still a huge taboo, as if enjoying pleasure alone after a certain age is wrong or embarrassing. And because of that, many people suppress this part of their life, acting like it's something they should just leave behind. But here's the truth. Pleasure has no expiration date. The real issue isn't the act itself. It's when it stops being something positive and turns into an escape from loneliness, anxiety, or even depression. And that's where the danger lies. The key to everything is balance. Pleasure is a natural part of life. But when it starts replacing other ways of connecting, that's a red flag. And in the next section, we're going to talk exactly about that. The amazing benefits of masturbation later in life, and what science has to say about it. So stay with me, because what comes next might completely shift your perspective on this topic. If there's one thing nobody can deny, it's that pleasure feels good. And when we talk about masturbation in later life, the benefits go way beyond just the momentary sensation. Your body still needs stimulation, and this habit can actually be a great ally for your health. For starters, it boosts blood circulation in the genital area, preventing tissue atrophy and maintaining sensitivity. That means that even as the years go by, it's still possible to have an active and satisfying sex life. And it doesn't stop there. This practice also helps release feel-good hormones, like dopamine and endorphins, which help reduce stress and improve mood. Another huge but rarely discussed benefit is its positive impact on sleep. A lot of people struggle with insomnia as they get older, and masturbation can be a natural sleep aid. After orgasm, your body shifts into a deep relaxation mode, making it easier to fall asleep and recharge your energy. On top of that, this private moment of pleasure can be a powerful tool against anxiety and even symptoms of depression. That post-release sense of relief isn't just psychological, it's chemical. Your brain responds by releasing substances that calm the mind and bring that peaceful, feel-good state everyone deserves. Beyond the physical benefits, there's also a strong emotional side. Masturbation can help with self-esteem and body confidence. Many people, as they age, start feeling disconnected from their own image, believing they're no longer attractive or desirable. But allowing yourself to experience pleasure can be a powerful reminder that your body still works, still feels, and is still capable of incredible moments. This builds self-confidence and fosters a healthier relationship with yourself. After all, there's no age limit for feeling good in your own skin, but like everything in life, there's a limit. The problem isn't masturbation itself, it's excess. When it stops being a healthy outlet and turns into an escape from reality, replacing real connections or being used to avoid emotional struggles, the benefits start fading away. And in the next section, we'll talk about exactly that, when healthy pleasure crosses the line into something that can bring negative consequences. So stay with me, because this next part might open your eyes to something you never even realized before. Everything in life needs balance, and pleasure is no exception. The problem starts when masturbation stops being a way to connect with your body and turns into an escape from reality. For many people, especially in later years, it can become a coping mechanism for loneliness, stress, or even the emotional baggage built up over time. At first, it might seem harmless, a quick way to relieve tension and feel some pleasure. But when it starts replacing other sources of well-being, like social interactions, hobbies, or even intimacy with a partner, that's a big red flag. One of the first signs that something's off is when pleasure stops being satisfying and starts feeling frustrating. This happens because too much stimulation can actually make the genital area overly sensitive, making it harder and harder to reach the same level of pleasure. Over time, a person might feel like they need stronger and more frequent stimulation, creating a cycle of dissatisfaction and dependency. And the worst part? This constant need can drain energy and motivation for other areas of life, leaving someone stuck in a habit that no longer brings real fulfillment. Another big issue is emotional impact. When masturbation turns into an escape, it can make feelings of isolation even worse. A lot of people, especially those who live alone, start withdrawing from social life without even realizing it. Little by little, they prefer a screen over a real conversation. They avoid going out, stop interacting, and don't seek new connections. What started as a natural, healthy pleasure becomes a way to numb the need for human connection. And that only makes loneliness hit harder. The result? A life that feels smaller, with fewer real experiences, and a sense of emptiness that's hard to shake. But let's be clear, masturbation itself is not the problem. What really matters is your relationship with it. If it's something natural, balanced, and guilt-free, great. But if it's replacing real connections, becoming a way to escape emotions, or causing more frustration than relief, it might be time to take a step back and reassess. And in the next section, we're going to talk about how to find the right balance and make sure pleasure stays a tool for health and happiness, not something that holds you back. So stick around, because this might just be the most important part of all. The secret to keeping any habit healthy is balance, and masturbation is no different. When done mindfully, it can be a great ally for both physical and emotional well-being. The issue starts when it takes up too much space in your daily routine, going from a healthy complement to your life to an escape or a compulsive need. To avoid that, it's important to be aware of your limits and ask yourself, is this still bringing me satisfaction? Or has it become automatic, something I do without even thinking? Pleasure should be something positive, not an impulsive behavior that leads to more frustration than relief. One great way to keep things in check is to diversify your sources of pleasure and well-being. Sexual pleasure is important, but it shouldn't be the only source of fulfillment in your life. Finding new interests, hobbies, and social interactions can bring a deeper sense of satisfaction that masturbation alone can't provide. Activities like exercise, walking outdoors, reading, or meaningful connections with others can help reduce the need to rely on solitary pleasure. When your life is filled with different kinds of enjoyment, masturbation remains a choice, not an escape from boredom or loneliness. Another crucial point is paying attention to the emotional impact. If after masturbating you feel guilty, sad, or emptier than before, that's a sign that something needs adjusting. Many people carry deep-seated beliefs about sexuality that make them feel shame, even when there's absolutely no reason for it. Pleasure is a natural part of life and should never be seen as something dirty or wrong. But if it's leaving you with negative emotions instead of satisfaction, it might be time to take a deeper look at your relationship with your body and your sexuality. At the end of the day, it all comes down to self-awareness, knowing your own limits, understanding what truly makes you feel good, and being conscious of your habits is the key to a balanced, fulfilling life. Pleasure can and should be part of your routine, but always in a way that adds to your well-being, not takes away from it. In the next section, we'll talk about how masturbation can affect relationships and what to do to make sure it doesn't create a barrier between you and your partner. So stick around, because this next part might answer some questions you didn't even realize you had. When you're in a relationship, masturbation can either be a healthy complement to your sex life or something that creates distance between you and your partner. It all depends on how it's approached and the role it plays in intimacy. Some people use masturbation as a way to explore their own pleasure without it affecting their connection with their partner. Others, however, start replacing sex with solo pleasure, whether out of convenience, lack of desire, or even unresolved emotional issues. And that's where problems can start. When intimacy fades, the emotional bond weakens, and feelings of rejection and dissatisfaction can creep into the relationship. One of the biggest challenges happens when masturbation becomes more frequent than shared intimacy. This can create an emotional barrier, making one partner feel unwanted or unnecessary. For some, turning to solo pleasure is easier than dealing with sexual difficulties in the relationship, whether it's mismatched libidos, lack of communication, or personal insecurities. The problem is that avoiding intimacy can cause even more distance. What once was a healthy addition to your sex life can turn into an obstacle to closeness and connection. That being said, masturbation doesn't have to be a threat to your relationship. In many cases, it can actually be a useful tool for maintaining sexual health, especially during times when a couple faces challenges like health issues, routine changes, or periods of lower desire. The key is transparency and the ability to discuss the topic without shame. When both partners understand that self-pleasure doesn't have to exclude intimacy, it becomes easier to find balance and keep the connection alive. If you feel like masturbation is affecting your relationship, the first step is to open up a conversation. Talking about desires, expectations, and needs can prevent misunderstandings and strengthen your bond. Plus, making an effort to reconnect, whether through exploring fantasies together, improving communication about pleasure, or even seeking professional guidance, can reignite passion and intimacy. In the next section, we'll tackle the biggest myths and truths about masturbation in later life, and how false beliefs might be shaping the way you see this topic. So stay with me, because this next part might change the way you think. Masturbation in later life is still surrounded by a lot of myths, making many people feel guilty, ashamed, or even afraid to talk about it. But the truth is, most of what people believe about this topic has no scientific basis at all. One of the most common myths is the idea that masturbation wears out the body or harms your health. That's nothing more than an old, outdated belief with no real evidence. In reality, this practice keeps genital tissues healthy, improves blood circulation, and even supports cardiovascular health. If done in moderation, it only brings benefits. Another widespread myth is that masturbation can cause impotence or lower sex drive. This belief makes a lot of people avoid self-pleasure, afraid that it might damage their ability to enjoy intimacy with a partner. But science proves the opposite. Regular masturbation can actually help maintain healthy sexual function, especially for men looking to prevent erectile dysfunction. The only time it becomes a problem is when done in excess. Overstimulation can train the body to respond only to a specific type of stimulation, making it harder to enjoy sex with a partner. Once again, balance is key. There's also a huge stigma around masturbation after 60, as if it was something shameful or inappropriate. Many people grew up in a time when talking about sex was already a taboo, and self-pleasure was seen as something dirty or immoral. That mindset still affects a lot of people today, making them feel guilty about something that is completely natural. The reality is that sexuality is part of being human at every stage of life, and there is nothing wrong with experiencing pleasure, whether alone or with a partner. What truly matters is understanding that there is no right age to stop exploring your own body. Finally, another huge myth is that if someone masturbates, it means they're unhappy in their sex life or relationship. That's simply not true. Masturbation can be just another way to explore pleasure and self-awareness, without it meaning that something is wrong in the relationship. What really matters is that this practice remains a healthy, conscious choice, and not an escape from reality or a replacement for meaningful connections. In the next section, we'll dive into how to find a healthy balance so that masturbation stays a positive part of life without any negative consequences. Stick around because this part might completely change how you see the topic. Finding a healthy balance is the key to making sure masturbation remains a source of pleasure and well-being without bringing negative consequences. The first step is understanding that pleasure should be natural, guilt-free, and shame-free. If masturbation is part of your routine and makes you feel good, great, but it's important to notice if it's taking up too much space in your life. Replacing social interactions, physical activities, or moments of connection with a partner. Self-pleasure should be an addition to your well-being, not an escape from emotional struggles or reality. Another essential factor is paying attention to how your body responds. If masturbation no longer brings the same level of satisfaction, or if you feel like you need stronger and more frequent stimulation, it might be a sign that something is out of balance. Pleasure should be enjoyable, not an exhausting pursuit. If you ever feel discomfort, whether physical or emotional, it might be time to reassess your habits and explore a more balanced way to experience your sexuality. And let's not forget the importance of human connection. If masturbation has become your only source of pleasure and satisfaction, maybe it's time to take a look at your social and emotional life. Seeking out new interactions, discovering different ways to feel pleasure and fulfillment, and nurturing emotional bonds can create a sense of joy that goes beyond momentary satisfaction. There's nothing wrong with self-pleasure, but life is about so much more than that. Relationships, hobbies, exercise, and new experiences are all essential to maintaining true balance. At the end of the day, it all comes down to awareness and moderation. Pleasure is part of life at any age, but it needs to be experienced in a way that adds to your well-being, not takes away from it. If you've made it this far, you've already taken an important step toward understanding this topic better and breaking free from outdated beliefs. Now I want to hear from you. What surprised you the most in this video? Have you ever stopped to think about this before? Drop a comment below, leave a like, and share this content with someone who needs to hear it. And of course, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future videos.